because Alan always begins from placing Israel in a defensive position and saying, what would you do if these people were firing upon you? The problem with that logic is that that begins with Palestinian resistance as opposed to Israeli occupation. If you begin from the place of Israeli occupation and you talk about Palestinian resistance to that, then suddenly the question should be, what would you do if you're Israel and you're an apartheid state and you're an occupying force? That, to me, is the more fundamental question here. And again, I'm not, and let me hold on, Alan, and hold on, Alan, and hold on, Alan, please. And once again, I'm not defending the killing of innocent children. I'm not defending breaking of ceasefires. I'm not suggesting that Hamas is above critique. I'm not pro-Hamas. I'm anti-occupation, and that's a very different conversation. And that's what the United Nations is attempting to do.
Apartheid states, you're engaging in bigotry. Look, I fought against apartheid. I was part of the legal team for Nelson Mandela. I know what apartheid is. How dare you call Israel an apartheid state? Arabs and Jews worked together, lived together, served in the Knesset together. The Gaza was emptied of all occupation in 2005 and 2007.
I hope I get a chance to respond.
Israel left behind all of the greenhouses. Hamas turned them into terrorist rockets. Shame on you for calling Israel an apartheid state. Well, you have become part of the problem, not part of the solution, Mark.
Well, your moral censure aside, I'd like to respond to that. First of all, if you look right now, there's first, second, and third class citizenship for Israelis versus Arab Israelis and Palestinian Israelis. Excuse me, Arab Israelis and Palestinians. Please,
Alan, let Mark respond.
I am.
I'll just waiting for him. Are you done? Thank you, sir. If you're talking about occupation ending in 2005, right now Gaza is still controlled by land, by air, by sea. Israel still has a blockade. Israel still controls the population registry. Israel still controls the electromagnetic sphere. Israel still controls movement. Israel still controls the entering and leaving for Palestinians. It still controls the construction of supplies. It still controls the water, the food that comes in. It still controls the economy. Palestinians have not had one day of self-determination. If you don't call that second-class citizenship and an apartheid state, shame on you.
Well, you talked about Israel being an apartheid state, number one. Number two, Israel...
Address those points I made, though. Address those points I made.
So that was your guy, Marc Lamont Hill. This is like 4 years old from CNN. So has a history of caping for the Gaza Strip, which is standard in most progressive spaces. Point that word progressives, you know what I mean? Not just liberals, but progressives. The Kumbaya, the LBGT, the women's rights, the feminism, the Palestine, that's part of the progressive ideology. But he's been caping for them for a really long time now. And we see he got canned from CNN. Let's talk about that. So, I'm going to be redundant, pleonasm. Historically, I've always said on my channel, I've never co-signed this idea of firing people because they say shit that people don't like, that may be controversial, that may make you feel some type of way. If you gotta suspend them, have at it, fine them, do what you gotta do. But the idea of firing people because they say shit you don't like, I've never co-signed that. Whether I like the person or not, whether what they said was offensive or not. And the premise behind me saying that is because more often than not, when black people have that issue, we just go away and disappear. The white folks, which we all champion for, we were happy that Roseanne lost her show, and we were happy that Bill O'Reilly got kicked off Fox News. I was happy that Tommy Lauren got off the Blaze. The problem is that these folks always rebound, right? I remember there was a tweet from Goldie Taylor, who was one of these individuals who lost her job when MSNBC got rid of all the Negroes that they hired for Obama's administration. They got rid of the Torres, Melissa Harris Perry. That was her own fault, though. She could have kept her job. Joy Reid got her spot only because she didn't know how to shut the hell up and just play the game. But Goldie Taylor was another one. They got rid of all the black people that they hired just because Obama was elected, right? Networks do shit like that. CNN did the same thing. When Trump was going in office, they hired a bunch of ex-Republicans and conservatives. It's just the nature of the beast. It's business. But I remember her making a tweet about Tommy Lauren, you ain't got no job. And I'm like, yo, chill. And all black Twitter retweeting it and happy going in. I'm like, yeah, I realized Tommy Lauren didn't have a job, was still under contract, getting paid mills, and interviewing for a job at Fox News, where she probably makes way more money and doesn't do half the shit she did at the Blaze. She's not the it girl at Fox, but she was the it girl at Blaze. And she probably does a hell of a lot of work. I don't even see her rants going viral no more. Like those rants she used to do that black folks used to hate watch and give her views. I don't see them shits no more. And she's at Fox, and she still has that segment where she does it on TV, but they're not all over Facebook no more or YouTube. I don't see them. But we were happy that she lost her job, only to find out that she was still under contract and she was still getting the bag, while Goldie Taylor was actually fired from MSNBC and didn't have a job. Bill O'Reilly, when he got booted from Fox News, and that was not something he said, that was something he did, but he left with 50 mil. Megyn Kelly of recent, which makes more sense of an example, she said something silly. I don't even think it was, but she got canned, and it wasn't just because of that. It was also because of her ratings. From what I see, it's confusing, though, because she did get those older white dudes that liked her on Fox to come over and watch, but I guess she might have lost the younger demographic, and that might not work well with advertisers. I don't know how that works, but it's confusing, right? Because they said she did do what they wanted her to do as far as bringing over the other older dudes who watched her at Fox. She accomplished that, but she probably lacked in other areas. But then she said the whole situation about blackface lost her job. Megyn Kelly's leaving that show with 30 mil. And I guarantee you that's more money than Al Roker or Tamara Hall was going to make probably years working there. She's getting that to leave and probably go off again and do some do some other shit. But that was one of the reasons why I said I've never co-signed this we want you to lose your job. You know, you shouldn't be able to work again because you said some silly shit or you said some shit that people don't like. Never co-signed it, no matter who it was. And we have to acknowledge this and take this L, black people, because we have been very vocal and complicit in creating this atmosphere. We are the main ones. Oh, they're racist. They said something, lose their job. Remember, nappy-headed hoes lost his job. What did he do? He got bigger. The dude from radio, Rush Limbaugh, he got fired. He's damn near a billionaire. Like, when they lose their jobs for saying some silly shit, they actually do better in many cases than they were doing before. You got Roland Martin, bitch ass, talking about these stupid ass white people, you know, making the fun of the people, the white women who keep getting fired, doing dumb shit, calling cops or whatever. And I'm like, Roland, didn't you get fired from CNN because you made an alleged homophobic comment? That's why you got fired from CNN. And you got the nerve, the mitigated gall to talk about white people who say dumb shit and losing their jobs when that's how you lost your job. And then you had to go run to black media to come save you. And then you got, that show got canceled. Now you're on YouTube begging Facebook for jobs. But again, I remember Juan Williams got fired because he said something about if he was on a plane and he saw some motherfuckers with towels on their head talking Allah Akbar shit, he'd be offended and feel some type of way, and he got fired for that, which I think every American felt that way. I'm from New York. I damn sure feel that way, and I live in a highly populated Yemenis environment. There's times when I've been at the park and seen the white van drive by and the wires coming out the man. It's just his earphone himself. I'm like, nah, motherfucker, we should be Bluetooth. It felt some type of way, you know what I mean? Like I've had those moments. Man, Mark Cuban got in trouble because he said something about the hoodies and at night and the tattoos and this and that, and he got some heat, but he's a boss and he owns his own shit, so you couldn't fire him. But I say all that to say is I've never co-signed this, and who knows what's going to happen to Marc Lamont Hill, whatever his name is. Marc Lamont Hill, I know what that man's name is, my bad. Because he was already fired from Fox, and now he's fired from CNN. He works at BET, so who knows what's going to happen with that. Most of black media is defending him, which is whatever. I don't have a problem with that, even despite I don't like his content, his liberal fuckity fuck shit. But we all know that there's certain things you cannot say. You can't come at the LBGTXYZ, and you can't come at the motherfuckers so cheap they bought half the Bible. Yo, we all know this. Now, it's weird, too, that he was a sacrificial lamb, because there's a lot of people in Hollywood going in and doing this whole boycott Israel thing, right? Like, he ain't the only one. But it's weird how he the first one to get on the chopping block. And then you have had white folks like Roseanne, another person who got fired, and we were happy. Oh, she got off her show, but they had to pay her a lot of money to give up the rights to that show, right? It ain't like she just got her shit taken and she ain't getting nothing for it. She owned the rights to that shit. I think she should have just took that show to Fox like Last Man Standing did. That was a OG move. But yeah, she did the whole outfit and Hitler outfit and baked some cookies, and she got away with that shit. We know Mel Gibson went on his rant and took an L for a few years, but he bounced back. So there are some white folks who can say some sideways shit, but still, get out of the ashes, pun intended. Yo, how did Joe Budden get away with that line? People really must not have been listening to his music. If she ever questioned my dictatorship, I put her in the oven and let her bake a bit. Yeah, how did he get away with that shit? Yo, people really must not have been listening to Joe Budden's music. Like, people not feeling the mood music's crazy. But, yes, there are certain people you can't come at. There are certain people who have the power. Jay-Z says a line about Jews, and the anti-defamation league says, we don't like you complimenting us in that way. Don't say our names. Like, that's some powerful shit. How many black men have had to apologize, comedians or whatever, because they said bundle of sticks word. Comedians even. Like, we don't fare well in this environment. Black people, black men in particular. And that's why I've never co-signed the shit, but most black people have, and you do. And you still celebrate when people you think shouldn't have a job because they said something stupid lose their job. Why do we co-sign that? Being the position that we are in, we should not co-sign that. And I've been on YouTube 6-7 years saying the same shit. And what do we see? Black people keep crossing that line, saying some shit that people who are in power think is crossing it, and they get fired, and they disappear, and they go into the abyss, and we never see them again. Meanwhile, the white folks, they rebound, they have networks, they get other opportunities. Don Imus is doing better than what he was doing when he was where he's at. Glenn Beck started his own whole network, The Blaze. And I heard that him and Harvey Levin, or whatever his name is, they about to do this powerhouse conservative network together. Meanwhile, Roland Martin is begging Facebook to give him an opportunity. Man. That's all I had to say. I don't really care about the situation. I'm just reiterating that, I've never co-signed this shit. And black people, most of us do. We feel some type of way, and we want people to lose their jobs. Even other black people. Look what black people did to Jennifer Holliday. Tried to. She said no. Right? Jennifer Hudson. No, my bad. Chrisette Michelle. They tried to cancel Ye, but Ye does not need Negro, so that was a failed attempt. But we have an issue with that. Wishing for people's ability to provide for their families to go away because they said something silly. Man, we got to do better than that, man. Especially where we stand globally and even in America. Not something we should co-sign. Sometimes it's better to shut up and sit the one out. I'm like, yeah, it was crazy, but I'm not going to go out there and put my Twitter fingers on. You deserve to get your job lost, and you deserve to be fired, and this and that. And no. If there were stronger black networks and opportunities, yeah, talk your shit. But when you're economically dependent upon other people for your survival, shh. He's already apologized. And I did do a video about the situation with Tamika Mallory, and I gave her props. And even though I'm not a fan of hers, but she didn't denounce Farrakhan, which, whatever. You'll hear the video that I did eventually when I upload it. But Lamont Hill did, kind of, sort of. And that's crazy. That's an L for brothers, man, where the sister who had a lot to lose, he got the actual original creator of the Women's March, and we're going to break all that down eventually again later on, but she's coming at her and Linda Sozar talking about they got too many ties to the Muslim shit, and there's too much connection, then her connection to Farrakhan and his quote-unquote fake anti-Semitic language. But she stood her ground. Shout out to her, despite me not being a fan of her either. But Lamont Hill, and this climate where, you sneeze, what did he say? You can't do that in this climate, man. Like, you can't. They got it right now. They got the victimization card on lock right now, especially after the shooting at the synagogues. Man, listen. Whew. You can't say nothing about them right now. But I see that the title of Yvette Cornell's video is popping live stream right now, so I'm assuming he already apologized, which, yeah, it is what it is. But I've never co-signed this shit. And we see time after time, black people keep getting fired. Or suspended even. Which, okay, I'd rather they get suspended like Stephen A. Smith did. Even though I thought what he got in trouble for was stupid. But I'd rather see them get suspended than get fired. Despite whether I agree with their political ideology or not. And I think black people need to rethink this whole let's hope people lose their jobs whole thing that we be campaigning for. Because when we on that hot seat, we don't get second chances or other opportunities. I don't really, there's, like, you see the glare, right? Like, where is that? Right there. You see that? Like, this dude made him cry. He made him cry over Palestine on national TV. What kind of shit is that? Damn, my guy. But I see Kevin Hart is on a chopping block. I don't care to do a video about that. But it is interesting seeing that Kevin, he already bent over years ago. He already apologized and did that whole spew. And, even said he wouldn't tell gay jokes and whatnot. And years later, they still pulled the tip out on him and told him to bend over. Like, that's some powerful ass group of people right there, especially in Hollywood and fashion and music industry. There's some powerful mofos, but he apologized a long time ago, and they still pulled the dick out on him and told him to bend over and apologize again. And then he fake stood his ground because he stood his ground for 1 minute, but then he turned around and said he was sorry for something else, which is like, whatever. Man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.